So today we're going to be talking about the crazy Google core update that is going on. I've been covering it daily on lives just to keep people updated and still give value, etc. And it's quite an interesting situation. I've seen all sorts of websites getting taken down recently with the clapping that is going on. And basically what's happened over the last week is that Google released their core update along with a spam update, along with some manual action penalties. And it's been a pretty crazy time. So I'm going to answer some of the latest questions about this whole update. And I'm also going to talk about what I can and can't talk about on YouTube these days, because I might have to be a bit more careful with what content I share, but I'll come on to that later. For now, we're going to run through some of the comments. And if you have questions, feel free to post them in the chat as well. Happy to answer those too. And we're going to go through it. So from the video yesterday, let's start going through some of these questions. And we'll start answering them right here. So someone says, what about algorithmically hit sites? Should we delete the Google Search Console? So I would say some great questions coming in. Shout out to Yusuf and shout out to Jason as well. This is quite an interesting one. So basically this question from Ahmed right here is asking, okay, should you delete Google Search Console from your sites? And, for algorithmically hit sites, should you do it as well? I wouldn't recommend deleting Google Search Console to everyone. I'm just going to do it for my sites because I want to see what happens. And honestly, all the sites that I was an owner of got clapped. So obviously my Google Search Console was hit pretty hard. All of the sites received a manual action penalty like this. And I was basically just personally targeted, not like the strategies don't work, because I have loads of private case studies that are working beautifully, but it's just the fact that I was sharing too much openly, and basically my sites got hit, just like you can see right here, sadly. So if you're interested, this is exactly what it looks like. So it says manual actions, and basically for pretty much all of my websites now, I've deleted Google Search Console. Now, I'm not saying that works. I'm not recommending the strategy. I'm just saying I'm going to test it, because right now, why not? And we've got some good questions coming in. So Jason says, yayo Julian, shout out to Jason. And what else we got here? Yusef says, how's it feel to be famous right now? Honestly, I'm not even checking social media. I've seen pretty much every time I open YouTube a video about me or Jackie Chow. So I feel absolutely honored to get that sort of attention. And it's been pretty cool, honestly. It's a little bit hard mentally to take. I think if you took in all the noise, and if you were checking every single Twitter post or Facebook group about the situation, that probably wouldn't be good for you mentally. But for me, I just cut out all the noise, to do a bit of meditation, a bit of reading. I like to cultivate a bit of stillness and not log into Twitter. In fact, I haven't logged into Twitter properly for, I would say, 3 or 4 days now, maybe 5 days. Just cut out all the noise. I think that's the best way to handle this whole situation. And, there's a lot of emotional people out there, sadly. So, you're just going to keep going, haven't you? Keep a positive attitude. Enjoy the ride. Jason says, what happened the other day? I was in church watching you before service. Shout out to Jason. So basically what happened the other day was my live stream cut out after 8 minutes. It was a total nightmare. SEO Lady Ninja Pain says, I cannot believe people are actually saying delete Google Search Console. For me, I'm just experimenting. So I'll see whether it works, see whether it doesn't. I have no emotional attachment at all. Let's just see what happens. And Ben says, if anything is worth doing, it's worth doing properly. Quick programmatic and AI SEO will be limited on value, and conversion rate optimization will be so low, it's almost worth not doing. So for me, I don't know what that refers to, but for me, essentially, with the sites I've built, a lot of AI SEO case studies in the background are performing better than ever. It's absolutely crazy, particularly in the rank and rent field, but also just for everything. And so it's an interesting time right now. These strategies that I've shown on my channel work. I can't show them anymore publicly. I actually made a list of what I can and cannot talk about openly, and it's quite an interesting situation, but I'll come on to that later. I think I can still talk about keyword research. I can still talk about humanizing prompts. Link building is probably okay. Keyword clustering with AI should be fine. Topical maps, etc. This should be all good stuff. Anything else, I have to pretty much put behind a paywall inside my private mastermind, where I share case studies, where I share lessons, where I share what I've learned and tested along the way, along with some of the other communities. So that's going to be pretty cool. I think I got 120 messages about my mastermind today. It was absolutely insane. So yeah, pretty interesting time. And Yusuf says, I wanted to join your monthly SEO program. Will I be able to accelerate growth for local SEO, for example, mold remediation, and generate leads quicker than usual? So, I mean, for me, like, I don't preach any sort of fast tactics when it comes to SEO. Like, obviously it's a game of patience. But what I would say is that if you look at the testimonials from the people who've joined the mastermind, it's absolutely insane some of the results they've got. And that pretty much just speaks for itself. But yeah, this is all about just simplifying SEO, making it very, very actionable, cutting out all the noise. And whether you're using AI or human content, there's content in there for everyone. And then you just apply what you want, apply what you don't. For me, local SEO, does it work really well? Absolutely. And Weston Smith says, what are we going to do now? It's up to the 100 site challenge already. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think for me, we're still going to do case studies, lots of crazy stuff, lots of interesting experiments. I'm still going to show a lot of value on YouTube. There's just certain things I can't show. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting time. I'm going to make sure that I give as much value as possible and help as many people as possible. That's the main thing for me. Fabrizio Pepe says, hey Julian, quick question. Keyword research or ChatGPT topical authority? Which one is your favorite one? I'd like to know your opinion. So for me, I honestly think that with AI SEO, its power is leaning towards topical authority, right? So what you can easily build out is a topical map with every single topic you can cover, every single category, every single page that you need to create. And you can do that based on your competitors. You can do that based on your niche. You can automate it with ChatGPT, but I still prefer topical maps versus keyword research. And keyword research is like great for one page here, one page there. But if you really want to structure a website properly, right, with the right site architecture, the right topics to cover, and to really understand, okay, how do I build absolute authority on this topic, not just cover like one or two pages here and there, I think topical maps are the best. Paul says, you are a legend. Well, thank you very much, Paul. Appreciate that. And he says, thanks so much for keeping up on creating motivational videos during a certain time. Yeah, absolutely. I think I was speaking to Kyle Reef about this earlier, actually. I was like, it's all about, you've got to keep the positive attitude, right? Like, for example, there's a lot of emotional people. There's a lot of people upset out there. There's a lot of people really worried right now. I mean, it's an anxious time for everyone. And I'm really sorry to see anyone who gets hit with Google updates. For me, I'm so glad that my sites were just experiments that got hit. It wasn't anything serious. But I think it's all about just making sure that you are very positive, and you've got to learn and adapt. And bear in mind, like, for example, if SEO becomes harder this wave, well, that's a great opportunity for you because there's also going to be opportunities that come out of this, right? And if you can adapt and learn and keep a positive attitude, everything else is going to fall in place. So Manoj says, would you suggest AI for content creation even with human editing? I think that's the best combination. I've always said that from day one. Like, the way that I see it is it's kind of like Michelangelo SEO, right? Obviously, he was a famous sculptor, painted the Sistine Chapel, famous Italian sculptor from the 1500s. And he always said that every block of stone has a statue inside it, but it's up to the sculptor to discover that, right? And I think that's very applicable when it comes to ChatGPT. If you've seen the SEO checklist that I give away, and that's in my free course if you haven't checked it out already, but if you've seen that SEO checklist, it basically guides you through step by step exactly how to edit an article properly so that you don't just have that ChatGPT copy and paste content, you actually edit it and fine tune it so that it's the best possible piece of content it can be. And I think that's the best. Like, humans, they have common sense, they fact check, they don't hallucinate so much. And AI is very, very powerful semantically. And I think as long as you're quality checking that content before you publish it, you're absolutely flying. El Ballard says, what is meant by delete Google Search Console? Is it a complete removal or just removing the site from Google Search Console? I have a website that disappeared from search results completely without any action penalty. Well, number one, I'm really sorry to hear that your site disappeared from search. I've actually heard all sorts of reports of human and AI sites getting basically disappearing from the SERPs, right? And it's pretty sad to see that. So I think right now it's very early days. For me, I'm taking that experimental approach, as I always like to do. I like to be a little guinea pig for everyone watching so that I can test new strategies. And one of them is going to be just deleting Google Search Console for now. So let's see what happens. So basically, when I say deleting Google Search Console, I mean removing myself from the account, deleting all the data, and basically just relying on Ahrefs and Bing to measure the data. But honestly, I think Ahrefs does the 80-20 bit. So motivation, positivity. I like that name. That's what we're talking about. He says, "You're a very honest person, and I wish you all the best for your projects." Yeah, this is one of the things actually my mate told me about this earlier today. And he was like, imagine if you didn't openly talk about your sites getting hit on the first day that this happened, and then you came out like a week later and you owned up to it, right? And everyone discovered that your sites were de-indexed. For me, I was fully honest and transparent from day one, and I wanted to share with the whole community what had happened. I think that's very important. And so that's the best way. Like for me, if I get clapped, I'm going to share it. If something works for me, I'm going to share it. Unfortunately, most of the stuff in terms of case studies has to be shared privately now. But again, I'm just going to, spread positivity, be as kind as I can, and give as much value as I can back to the community. That's what I'm all about, really. Yusuf says, any software you recommend to create a topical map? Matt Diggity is charging over $600. Well, I mean, number one, Matt Diggity is an absolute beast SEO, so I can see why he charges that. He deserves the price tag, and massive respect to him. I think he's an absolutely amazing SEO. But let me share my screen, and I'll show you a couple of methods for doing topical maps. I honestly think stuff like this you can still share, and it's totally fine. It's more some of the other stuff that I talked about on my channel that I probably can't share anymore. So if we go onto my SERP for topical maps, here's my favorite way to do it, right? Basically, you take this prompt right here. It's inside my free ChatGPT SEO course if you haven't already got it. And you would say, give me 30 semantically relevant but unique topics under the niche in the right language and an easy to read table, right? And from here, you can put in your niche and put in your language. So you can say, right, I'm in the birds niche. The language is Italian. And this is a custom GPT that will create the topical map for you. Now, if you don't have access to ChatGPT Plus, you can use this free prompt right here. So either way, you're winning, right? Because if you don't have ChatGPT Plus, it's okay, you can use this. If you do have ChatGPT Plus, you can actually use this custom GPT called SEO Topical Map Maker that I've created for the community there. So I hope it helps you. And then what you can do from here, once it's actually created part one of the topical map, is you can generate the pages under each category, right? And typically for me, when I'm building out a website, I would put just a category page, right? Just normal, nothing special, not like a silo or anything like that. And I would create 30 different topics under each category, right? So you take a category like this one, for example, you're going to plug in part two of the prompt that you've got right here, hit enter, and you're off to the races. And you've got a nice little topical map right here, right? And what you'll see, hopefully if this works live on the channel, is that you've got the category, which is tipi di uccelli, and then you've got each page underneath the main category, right? And the nice thing about this is if you're doing foreign SEO, then you will find the translation in column D as well. So pretty nice there. I like it. So I hope that answered your question. We'll go on to the next one. So B says, traffic going down day by day. Keywords gone, but not manual penalty. All pages indexed. What's your opinion? I would say, number one, it's way too early to worry about it. Number two, it's way too early to take action, right? So I think you have to wait it out. Give it 30 days. Check out the trends. Try and get as much information as you can if you're comfortable with that. But bear in mind as well, like if you start going and researching every Facebook group or Twitter or something like that, you're going to see a lot of negativity. So if you want to cut out all the noise, just wait it out. Don't make any crazy movements right now, and then just see what happens at the end of the update once it's sort of cooled down a little bit. Because what I've seen in previous updates, trying to be the voice of reason here, is that sometimes a site will take a massive hit day one, then the back up day two, then the back down day three. I mean, even my website that got de-indexed with the manual action penalty, juliangoldy.com, when it got re-indexed, the traffic just went up to an all-time high. It was absolutely insane. Now, that was a lot of people trying to search for the website, honestly, but it's quite interesting to see that, things can be very volatile. You don't know what's going to happen in the next 24 hours or 30 days. So just wait out. Do a bit of meditation, do a bit of reading. That's what I recommend. Cultivate some stillness. So Shame L Net 48 says, the appearance of my site on GSC went down to 0, but I did not receive any warning. And my site's pages still appear on the search engine. Is it possible for the site to return to work? Yeah, I think, number one, long term, even if your site does get de-indexed, there are manual action specialists out there who can help you on this. And we might actually bring one onto the channel and do a quick interview. I think that'd be a really interesting case study in itself. It's just to bring an expert in manual action penalties onto the channel. We can talk about some of the ways to recover your site. But yeah, if your site's taken a hit, like I said, just wait it out, see what happens. You can't really make any crazy movements right now. And Jason says, what is some Julian Goldie ways to rank a local restaurant? And can you give me a cheeky example live? This is a great question. Absolutely. I'll be happy to help you out here, right? So I'm going to pull up Ahrefs right now, and I will show you exactly how to rank a local restaurant, right? So number one, first thing you want to do is make sure on Ahrefs or whatever tool you're using. You can use SEMrush, you can use AdWords, Google AdWords Keyword Planner if you want to, if you don't want to pay for a tool like this. But basically, you would put in, for example, like whatever restaurant you're in, right? So let's say Italian restaurant, New York. We can put something like that. Make sure you've selected the right country right here. You're going to hit search, and then from there, you get an idea of how difficult the keyword is to rank. Now, there's two ways that you can go with this. And I would say if you're doing local SEO, it's a bit different to your normal topical map, right? So you can see there's a high traffic potential, but this is a fairly difficult keyword to go for, right? Let's say you have an Italian restaurant in New York. But what you can do from here is you would just go on to terms match, like so, and just figure out, okay, what are some relevant keywords I can still rank for, right? So, for example, some of these coming down here, for example, like Italian restaurant, New York City. These seem like branded actual names of restaurants, so I probably wouldn't try and rank for them unless you're a review site. And just keep going down and then look for opportunities, right? So Italian restaurant in Astoria, New York. And it depends where your restaurant is located as well. Now, the other thing you can do is then put in street names or towns around New York where you're located that people are looking for. And additionally, just do different variations, right? So it could be like pizza restaurant or even just pizza New York, right? And usually with local SEO, what I try to do personally is rank in the organic, not the actual map listings. I tend to find that works a lot better and a lot faster for me. So for example, like New York Pizza, 6 right there, that is a good opportunity for an Italian restaurant in New York. Stone Pizza New York, that could be an interesting one if you serve that. Best New York style pizza near me. That's probably going to be mainly maps listings, but you can still find opportunities there. And then from there, you're going to create the content. What I would highly recommend is that you use that checklist I was talking about. You can find the link inside my free ChatGPT SEO course. And from here, step by step, you can figure out, okay, how do I create the best possible quality content, right? So you take whatever content you've got from your tool. For example, it could be from Autoblogging or ChatGPT or whatever, and step by step, just edit it manually before publishing to your site. The days of me talking about smash and dash publicly on a YouTube channel are gone. So I'm not going to recommend that method today. But if you just want to create quality content, that's one of the best ways to do it with this checklist. And then from there as well, just figure out how many backlinks you need, right? So for example, if you look at this particular keyword, Ahrefs will typically tell you how many backlinks you need to rank. Bear in mind, it's always less than you think. So if you scroll down to the first page of Google right here, you'll see, okay, how many backlinks do my competitors have? That gives me an idea of how many links I need. Typically what you're going to find is the pages that have the most backlinks at the top, the pages with the least backlinks at the bottom, as you can see in this particular example. There's going to be some outliers like this one, but this is a DR95 website, so you probably wouldn't take it into account. Obviously, you compete with Yelp, which is a very, very authoritative website anyway. That's why it doesn't need many backlinks. And by the way, if you want to book in a free SEO strategy session, for anyone watching, feel free to check that out. Links in the comments and description. But yeah, I hope that helps you. So you basically, it's keywords, content, backlinks, right? So keywords on Ahrefs, content using the SEO quality content checklist, so you can step-by-step edit the content before you publish it, and then finally figure out how many backlinks you need and go from there. So I'm going to open this up. I'll stop sharing my screen. And Minhaj says, going forward, will you do any more public case studies? No, that's it. The public case study game is over, sadly. And I tried to share as much as I could with everyone in the community. Sadly, I can't anymore. So it's all inside my private SEO coaching program. Link is in the comments. And yeah, I've tried to give as much value as I can, but I absolutely can't anymore. So it's pretty sad, but it's one of those, isn't it? We just got a super chat from Mr. Frank. Thank you very much. They came for the SEO King so we could grow. Thank you so much. Honestly, it's super kind. Like, really, really appreciate that, Frank. And I hope you're doing well. So, yeah. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, Frank. Thanks for giving that little donation right there, and makes it all worthwhile with the kind words. So let's get on to the next comment, which is from Aditya. Hi, Julian, created a new website, added some content with the help of AI. More than 1 month submitted in GSC, but site is still not indexed. Can I resubmit that in another GSC with a different email ID? So I would still stick to the GSC account that you have. There's a few things that you can do to make sure that you improve it. So number one, if you just use an indexing tool like, for example, Giga Indexer or Omega Indexer, these can get your pages ranking and indexed faster, right? Number two, you can actually form the whole internal link architecture of your website to make sure that it's all mapped out properly and everything's easier to crawl. Additionally, make sure that you do have a sitemap on your website as well, easy to set up with a plugin like Yoast, for example, which is free on WordPress. And also build some backlinks to your website. Backlinks to your website just build that authority for your site, which means that you're more likely to get indexed faster. And that's exactly what you want, right? And by the way, if you're enjoying this video, please smash the like on it. I'm trying to give as much value as I can. I'm answering all the questions here and I appreciate everyone who's asked a question. Like, it's insane how many questions we've got right here, and I appreciate every single one of them. So Shahid says, what are some ways ChatGPT can optimize SEO efforts? So, I mean, pretty much every single part of SEO you can actually use ChatGPT for, right? So just to read out some of the best ones, right? You can use it for link building, for creating link bait. You can actually use it to create interesting guides that actually have something linkable to them, so you can get some data, for example, format that nicely with ChatGPT, get some insights using ChatGPT, create some infographics even with ChatGPT, and then from there actually create a linkable asset on your site. Additionally, you can use it for keyword research, but I personally prefer our topical maps. I think topical maps are much better than keyword research. And you can also use it for humanizing your existing content, right? So, for example, if you've got a block of content from ChatGPT, I've shown it in other videos and I'm going to show even more on this in the future. You can actually humanize your content to make it feel more natural. If it feels more natural, then it's more likely to be interesting to the reader, right? And that's exactly what we want. Additionally, you can use it for automating external links. Now, this isn't necessarily on ChatGPT, but you can actually do your external link research using a tool like Perplexity, and you're pretty good to go from there. And also keyword clustering, right? So if you've got a big list of keywords and you want to figure out, okay, what's the best search intent? How do I organize all of this? You can actually use ChatGPT for that as well. Now, if you want to learn more about each of those techniques, I can't really cover it right now because we're in the middle of a live, but if you want to learn more about each of them, check out my free ChatGPT SEO course, links in the comments, and you can learn exactly how to do each one of those step by step. Super Spanish says, did you sleep well after the update? I'll be honest, I slept fine. Like, for me, like I've always said, I fully expected to get clapped at some point. I always warned that it was an experiment. I learned a lot from the whole situation, but yeah, it was totally fine. I mean, I have no emotional attachment to the whole situation. I do feel bad for the people that actually got hit, for doing public facing case studies and public facing tutorials, because a lot of SEO influencers would have been hit with sites they really care about because they were the owner of them in GSC. And for me, I just feel terrible about that. I think that's an awful situation for them, and I'm really sorry to hear that they got hit and publicly targeted for what happened. So I'm really sad to see that, honestly. But for me, did I sleep well? Yeah, I was fine. Experimental websites probably deserve to get clapped. I had a lot of fun experimenting with them, and I shared the whole thing, and I was very transparent about the situation with the community. So yeah, all good. Hope Emmanuel says, I love you. Thank you very much. That is very kind. And love you too. So John Freya says, that is hands down the only reason I choose to watch your channel over everything else on YouTube. Yeah. Well, thanks for watching. I hope I give a lot of value, and I hope you find my tutorials useful. Bear in mind, even if I'm not doing public case studies, yes, I'm going to share the really juicy stuff behind closed doors inside my mastermind. But at the same time, I'm just going to focus on giving as much value as I possibly can on YouTube, right? So everything that I learn, everything that I can understand, I'm going to share with the community. Now, that might have to be cleaned up a little bit publicly, I think, in terms of what I talk about, in terms of making sure that what I talk about is in line with what Google's happy with, honestly. But does that mean that I can still give value in a way that is useful for the community? Absolutely. And everything that I talk about is going to be actionable in the future. So the helpful content update of 2023 had brought down 90% of traffic. All is human content. This is what I'm talking about, right? So human sites are getting hit. It's not just AI sites. Traffic is still going down. Keywords are being lost, but pages are indexed, no manual patch. No manual penalty has been received. Yeah, so it sounds like algorithmically you've been targeted, but I would just say wait it out, like I always say. Just see what happens. Don't react emotionally. Don't jump into doing anything right now. Don't change anything crazy on your site, but just go from there. So I think I've already answered that. Manoj says your free course on AI content is always updating. Is there any clear learning path? If you want to clear, so basically with the free ChatGPT SEO course, it's got every single thing you could ever want to learn about SEO inside there, right? So if you want to learn keyword research, if you want to do link building, etc., you can learn from that. Now, what I would recommend is that you just focus on one single high leverage thing that you can learn from that course at first, and then follow that, and then move on to the second highest leverage thing. And when I say leverage, I mean the least input for the maximum output in terms of results from SEO. So, for example, if you're not very good at keyword research, just go and learn that from the course. And then if you're not very good at link building, go and learn that from the course, right? And just focus on the highest leverage thing at first. Because, for example, most people won't need to start from scratch. They'll just need to develop their skills from, say, a 5 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10 in, say, keyword research or keyword clustering, etc. So that's the way that I recommend it. But if you want a start to finish course from literally the keyword research and establishing the site to managing a team of like 50 or 100 people and creating self-improvement systems for your whole SEO business, then I would highly recommend my SEO coaching program, which again comes with the coaching course, private mastermind, elite level SEOs inside there, plus private case studies. Plus, let's be honest, it's all about making money with SEO, and that's what we want. So, Best Ecom says, can your regular followers join your WhatsApp group? Anyone can join the WhatsApp group as long as you sign up to the mastermind. And the reason that I do that is because I can't show this publicly. I can't give people the free link publicly. It's come to that point. So anyone can join, but it has to be via the mastermind. And I didn't want it to be like that originally. That's why I've been sharing public case studies for the last year or two. But honestly, I can't do that anymore, sadly. So, Badass Optic says, is Google wanting everyone to live and breathe their niches to rank well? Video content is much harder to fake than text-based content. Yeah, but I think that's, honestly, with the video content situation, that's going to change as well. I think whatever you do, it's all about building the brand, right? So, for example, if you have multiple touch points for your business, it's like, right, you've got a Twitter account, you've got a LinkedIn account, you're creating content on your website, you're creating YouTube videos, etc. Then this all blends into one, right? And it creates diversity across all your channels. Now, that is not just good for link building. It's not just good for EAT signals. It's not just good for off-page signals, but additionally, it's going to help your website rank because you get traffic from everywhere, right? And I would say that if a site is getting traffic from elsewhere apart from Google, then that's a really good sign that it's a real business, and therefore its rankings are going to improve as well. So I think that's the key, is just building out a brand and focusing on that. And once you do that, you get all the backlinks, you get all the rankings, etc. Thorsten says, Julian, where did you see where the traffic is going, especially from massive sites that have been de-indexed? So I've seen a few examples of what's going on afterwards, and crazy thing here is, from what I've seen, more and more parasite SEO pages are ranking and more forums are ranking, right? So, for example, someone sent me a screenshot in sort of, I don't know, it's like kind of the finance niche. And basically, a bunch of smaller niche sites have been wiped out and they've been replaced by more and more directories, more and more parasite pages. Now, I think for now that will stand. But obviously, the rankings and the SERPs are going to be very volatile and fluctuate a lot. And additionally, I think that in May the 5th, something big is going to happen to parasite SEO. And for now, I probably wouldn't recommend doing it because you don't know what's going to happen over the next couple of months. So for now, just see what happens. Like the SERPs that you see today are not going to be the SERPs that you see on May the 5th, right? Everything is going to change all over again. Sean Solidet says, does it mean the new starters are harder to start? I don't think so. One of the most interesting things about this whole situation is that a lot of SEOs are going to quit. And a lot of SEOs are going to go out of the game. In fact, I've seen some YouTubers in the SEO space who have already stopped publishing videos at all, right? Because they're sort of scared to publish content now. Like they're literally, they don't know what to do and what to do in the public face. And so when a lot of people quit like this, if you can learn, adapt, and if you're coming in with a fresh pair of eyes and a beginner's mind, as some Zen Buddhists would say, then actually you've got an advantage because you can learn from scratch and you can start the game from a level where you're not sort of infected by old content, right? From old views and old philosophies and old dogma. And so I think now is a great time to do SEO, but it's certainly a time to do SEO differently. B says, bring a video series on how to bring traffic to your blog from Pinterest so that we don't have to depend on Google. I would highly recommend checking out YouTube. YouTube is by far the best way to get traffic to your site if you don't want to rely on SEO, right? Because YouTube, you get the benefit of both different channels. So you get the benefit of getting traffic from YouTube and also Google, right? And directly, it builds up your brand. It creates very high conversion rates because people know, like, and trust you. And by creating videos, you also become a better presenter, more articulate in the way that you talk. You understand your audience better. There's many, many benefits to it. It's absolutely crazy powerful. If you want to learn more about that, I've actually got a YouTube course from start to finish inside my SEO mastermind. Raghavendra says, optimizing my Google My Business is also a good option to attract traffic. Absolutely. And Johnny9 says, do you recommend still pushing out content now or wait until the update is over? I would wait until the update is over and just see what happens. I think if you're creating content now, it's a very volatile time. So for me, I'm going to pause on content until the core update is finished. Chrissy says, hello, sir. And Jason says, thanks, Julian. Happy to help as always. Now, Suresh says, is it now easy ranking on Google search? I would say from what I've seen, some of my case studies are ranking better than ever, and it's absolutely crazy. Like, I've seen DR zeros getting really good traffic and really good rankings for very competitive terms. And that's all in my private case studies. But yeah, like, SEO is working better than ever. And it's a difficult time right now, very volatile, but it's crazy what you can achieve if you follow the right strategies in place. So GG Slayer says, so AI SEO, is it dead? Absolutely not. I think it's working better than ever. I also think that, bear in mind, we're right at the beginning of the AI SEO industry. Literally, like, if you look on the grand scheme of things, we're right at the beginning. And AI SEO is only going to become more powerful. I mean, even some of the people that are quite negative on SEO, in if you check, for example, on Twitter, even they say that AI SEO is something that's growing more and more. And I think if you look at the way that the technology is developing, it's only becoming smarter and more powerful, right? And for example, when I look at some of my AI SEO case studies in the background, like, they're performing like crazy. They're doing more and more powerful stuff. So AI SEO is far from dead. Test out yourself. See what you like. See what doesn't work. Test out, for example, creating a human written content website and an AI content website and see what works. Test it out for yourself. I think it's better to focus on facts and over opinions. And for me, the facts are working crazy good. So Trendy Zone says, main thing is indexing, how to index quickly my backlinks. So you can use Giga Indexer for that. That's probably the best way to do it. And Farhad Ahmed says, give me ChatGPT prompts for blogs. If you want to get ChatGPT prompts for blogs, check out my free ChatGPT SEO course. It is in the comments and description. And Saron says, my website is Recover. Well, I'm really happy to hear that. Fair play to you. It's all good to see that. Jason says, can you explain being an owner in GSC? I don't understand the difference. All right. So inside Google Search Console, you can have different levels of access, right? So for example, you can just have like view only access. You can have ownership access. So you can be like a manager as well. I think there are different levels of access. Just like kind of, for example, on Dashlane, like, you can be a viewer of a password, or you can be an owner who can actually edit the password and change it, right? It's the same with Google Search Console. So essentially, if you're the owner of Google Search Console, you have admin level access, and that's where the sites have been hit when I've seen other SEO influencers. If you're just someone who's got access to it, but you don't have ownership of that Google Search Console account, then actually those sites haven't been hit at all. So yeah, it's crazy. Old is Gold says, literally, I'm crying right now. This update completely destroyed my website. Honestly, the amount of cases I've seen of people getting their websites hit is really, really sad. Like, not just, AI websites that have been scaled like crazy. I've seen this with human written sites. I've seen it with sites where people have got a human team of editors inside there. I've seen innocent businesses that have been around for like 30, 40 years get hit, even though they've done nothing wrong. It's just absolutely brutal. And then when you check the SERPs and you see what's ranking, it's like just forums and parasite SEO. So it's crazy times, and I hope you get it sorted out, Old is Gold. I'm really sorry to hear that. GG Slayer says, I had 200 blog posts de-indexed. That's interesting. So you didn't get your whole website de-indexed, but you only got 200 pages. I wonder what's going on there, whether they're just de-indexing some of the big content. Mohammed says, traffic got a little dip, but surviving. My question is, should I continue publishing or wait until 31st of March? I would say, for me personally, I'm going to wait. But I don't think there's any right or wrong answer because no one really knows what's going on. What I would say is, for me, yeah, like I'm saying, I'm just going to wait and see what happens. Again, same question there. And Facebook user says, anyone using Neural Writer, Autoblogging, or Text Builder should stop or use ChatGPT 4. I think all of these tools work, but the most important thing is that you actually use an SEO checklist to go through your content and just edit it step by step before you publish it. Saran Dev says, sir, my website has recovered. Boom. That's what we like to hear. After the Google core update, my website was down by 90%, but now it has recovered very quickly. I'd made some changes to the website. I'd be interested to know what changes you made to the site. But this is what I mean. Like, for example, you can't make any dramatic changes to your site and you can't panic or cry about the situation right now because you just don't know what's going to happen, right? The core update is going to roll out for like 30 days. And so if you make a judgment after 24 hours, well, that's less than 10% of the update, right? And so we're only a few days into it. We can't make any crazy judgments. And like Saran Dev says, you can get all your website traffic back, potentially. We just don't know how volatile the SERPs are going to be. Ali says, should we keep posting AI-based articles? I mean, that's up to you whether you're comfortable with creating AI content. But what I would say is, from what I've seen, AI content works better than ever. And additionally, if you're using something like the SEO content quality checklist in place, then you can manually edit that content before it's published, and it's the best it's possibly going to be. I think the AI can actually write better content than humans. And if you have both in place, human editing plus AI, that's like the ultimate combo, like I was talking about with Michelangelo SEO before. Let's keep going now. Love from India. Shout out to Saran Dev. Papa Lexios, I hope I pronounced that one right, says, much respect to your positive reaction even after your sites have been clapped. My 3 main websites have been algorithmically hit. Now I'm examining alternative strategies. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I think one of the best strategies moving forward is diversification in terms of where you get the traffic from. But also, let's see what happens and how it plays out. Because like Saran Dev was saying, your site can recover, potentially. We just don't know what's going to happen. And yeah, I appreciate you appreciating my positive reaction. I think you got to keep your head up. You got to be positive. I think as a leader, I tend to find that when I'm running a business, for example, we have a roller coaster ride and there's ups and downs across this sort of entrepreneurial journey when I'm running my agency or when I'm running my masterminds and that sort of thing. And it's like, no matter what, you got to stay positive, keep learning, adapt, and just focus 90% of your energy on the solution, not the problem, right? That's the best attitude in life. So GG Slayer says, so now if I publish human content for my blog, will it rank better than AI? Also, how do I get backlinks? So for backlinks, I would highly recommend Outreach. And if you want to book in a free SEO strategy session about that, feel free to book it in links in the comments. When it comes to human versus AI content, honestly, I think the best combination is human plus AI content, so human editing plus AI content generation. And then additionally, let's be honest, a lot of human sites have been hit. So it's not just about AI content here. I think it's just about, all sorts of SERP volatility right now. And people are losing all the traffic, then getting it back, and then it's going down again. My site got de-indexed and then indexed again, and then it's gradually getting its rankings back. So it's one of those. Joshin says, don't stop posting. Absolutely not. I'm not going to stop posting at all. I think that, like I say, I'm going to have to change my content strategy, but I'm not going to stop posting. I'm just going to provide as much value as I possibly can, like I'm trying to do today. Adil says, 2 of my client sites perished from Google that were based on human written content. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I've seen the same. I've seen human sites get absolutely smashed to oblivion, and then I've seen AI sites actually perform better than ever after the content update. So it's pretty crazy right there. I actually got my upright go on. And look at that, trying to improve my posture right there. Trying to keep those shoulders back, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think that it doesn't matter whether it's AI or human content. Like, I don't think that's the problem. So let's see. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name. But they say, hey, Julian, is the sandbox real? Absolutely. I've seen many sites get stuck in the sandbox period. If you looked at all my AI SEO sites in the public case studies that I showed previously, you'll see that actually a lot of them were getting like 1 or 2 clicks a day for 3 or 6 months. And then eventually they just skyrocket. So it takes time. And I think one of the best ways to get out the sandbox period and increase your rankings faster is to actually build more authority to your site with backlinks. How many sources of online earning do you have? How many blogs, and which online medium do you work on apart from blogs? Yeah, so for me, I don't even want to count the number of income streams I have. It's absolutely insane. Like, I would say, if you were counting each channel and each individual website and that sort of thing, you're talking over 100 income streams. So for me, like, it's all about massive diversification. I mean, like, even if I go back 5 or 6 years ago, I still make money off like fiverr.com passively. I still make money off audiobooks, where I have an audiobooks business with one of my best mates from Manchester. And so you just build up these income streams over time. And for me, I have over 100 sites in the background as well, private case studies. So I think diversification is the key. Like, even if you look at Jackie Chow, for example, he only lost like 10% of his revenue, even though his public facing case studies got hit. So it's pretty crazy to see that, yeah, as long as you diversify, and I think that's something I've always talked about from day one, you're fine. Like, you're not going to worry about it. You're not even going to lose any sleep over this whole situation. SA says, one of my sites with 2 million traffic just disappeared. I didn't even use AI content, but the site I was running with AI escaped the update. This is what I'm talking about. This is absolute proof right here. I've seen about 10 people comment today saying it's not AI content. It's quite a lot of human sites are getting hit. I've had personal WhatsApp messages from my mates, Facebook messages, Instagram messages, all saying very similar things. It's not about AI content, and it's not about human content. This update definitely isn't about that. And a lot of AI sites are doing better than ever, and a lot of human sites have taken a hit. Manoj says, any AI tool for adult content creation? That's a good question. Honestly, I haven't created much adult content, so I'm not in that game. But I'm sure like the normal AI tools would probably work for that. Thorsten says, thank you for your insights on the massive sites. I see they're lost as an opportunity for me. They can move the content to a new site. We can create content based on the top pages. Yeah, I think that's one of the best ways to do it. It's like, if you look at these massive sites and you see them getting hit, then that gap has to be filled, right? And if you're the person to do that and you take the initiative now, then actually there's a massive opportunity. And I think that's one of the best ways to reframe it. It's like, okay, these bad things happen, but how can I take advantage of it? How can I reframe it so that I can actually do better than ever from this situation? And for sure, there's going to be loads of sites that get taken down in the SERPs, and that's an opportunity to outrank them. Movies Explained in Hindi says, my website, 30K daily today. I saw my website completely de-indexed, no result. 100 human-generated content, no AI content. This is crazy. Like, the amount of comments I'm seeing about this, it's just, I've never seen anything like it. It's a lot of people on Twitter, for example, are talking about how it's only AI sites and all this, blah, 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 but it's not at all. This is total nonsense. And I think a lot of people spoke out too soon before they actually saw the whole facts. Anyway, Dan Jones says, do you think sites monetized through ads got hit the hardest? Honestly, I don't know. I think it's too early to say. Like, some people message me about that, but I don't think it's about display ads. What I think we might see is a lot of review sites getting taken down if they're not providing much value. But yeah, it's crazy. Johnny says, I see rubbish sites ranking over my site that does not answer the search intent, which is weird. That is pretty strange, to be honest with you. But like I say, I think the SERPs are going to be very volatile. And Bipin says, you is great, bro. I hit 500K from Google in just 15 days. That's what I'm talking about. Some positivity right there. Good to see some results. Shout out to Bipin. Wow, that is insane. I hope you use my strategies. I'm assuming you are because you're watching this channel. So yeah, that's the sort of power that you can achieve. I mean, some of the case studies in the background that we've got are just insane in terms of results. Joshin says, all my AI sites doing well, but I need 3 hours to edit every AI article. That's pretty cool. I'd be interested to see what you actually do when it comes to editing content for 3 hours before you publish it. You must have a very rigorous content quality checklist or something like that in place. But yeah, that sounds awesome. Like, fair play to you. You're leveraging AI, but you're also trying to tweak your content so you can get the best quality possible. Dominic says, which tech should for my agency website I use? WordPress or HTML site? Go for WordPress. WordPress is just so much easier, so much faster. If you're running an agency website, I honestly would give that to your team. I wouldn't recommend doing it yourself. I've actually got an SEO agency mastermind. You can check it out. Link is in the comments description. And we basically help clients get, we help agencies get more clients. But when it comes to your agency site, use WordPress. It's easy to set up. You can set it up in a day. It ranks really well. It's got loads of SEO plugins. And then delegate it to your team. The more time you spend in WordPress, the less money you make. So avoid that. GFX says, I have noted that the articles based on low competition content is getting indexed very faster, like in 6 to 7. That's an interesting one. I've not noticed that, but I do see the low competition keywords just a ridiculous amount easier to rank for. Affiliate Probe says, my human sites got hit too, like a perfect blog post with a detailed video showing how to physically fix front brakes on my car. Lots of human sites getting hit right now, which is really sad. And B says, forum sites, big sites are ranking on Google SERPs. Small niche sites have been removed by Google. What changes do you see in this? Will this end niche sites and will they get a chance? I think there's still opportunities and room for smaller niches. Absolutely. But one of the craziest things I saw was Glenn Alsop's report on how there's like 16 brands that are basically dominating the SERPs. And it's insane to see that. I'm trying to pull up his report right here, but basically he was talking about how Google is favoring these massive brands to rank, and the 16 companies that actually dominate the search results right now. So I'm going to just share that with you right now. We'll share the screen. And if you haven't checked out Glenn's Twitter profile, it's absolutely awesome. This is his biggest report he's ever talked about. But basically, yeah, so 16 companies are dominating the world's Google search results, right? So when it comes to big brands, they seem to be absolutely dominating when it comes to. And if we keep scrolling down right here, let's have a look. So yeah, you can see, for example, these are some of the biggest brands right now ranking really well. So you've got Digital Trends, Fox Media, Internet Brands, and then they have all these sub-brands underneath, it looks like, right? So yeah, it seems like bigger brands are likely to dominate Google, but why is that? I would say it comes down to actually authority, right? So if websites have more authority, they're more likely to rank because they're getting so many backlinks pointing to the site. Like if you look at Reddit or LinkedIn, it's not about EAT. It's not about the content because the content is pretty trash. It's about how many backlinks they're pointing to their site. So I think it's important to focus on that. And then here's some examples of the site and the brand and the estimated search traffic, right? So if we scroll down here, you see that Fandom gets 606 million. Mayo Clinic, absolutely dominating right there, gets 342 million. Healthline, 197 million, right? So the biggest brands are dominating. Now, I still think there's room for smaller sites to get in, but it is, again, about building authority to your site. How do you do that? You do it with backlinks, you do it with EAT, you do it with building the brand, and also diversifying the traffic. Quiz says, got the index fully, 13-year-old site with hundreds unique written articles in day one. It's got. That is crazy to see. I wonder why that is. Like, why is your site getting hit so bad right now? But yeah, that's pretty much it. I think for now, I've only got so much time today, but great questions today. I'm just going to answer this final one, which is which technology for my use? Oh, okay, we've answered that already, which is WordPress, I would recommend. And Dominic says we also have to post blogs on the site. Yeah, if you're posting blogs to your site, make sure that you focus on WordPress. It's just the easiest way to build back on your site. So thanks everyone for watching. That is pretty much all we've got time for. I've done a 50-minute live right there, answered almost every single question on the list. Some great questions right there. And if you do want to book in a free SEO strategy session about how to get more leads, traffic, and sales to your website, feel free to book that. Links in the comments and description. And we can basically give you a link building domination plan, look at your competitors, build out a custom tailored plan, and answer any questions you have live on the call. And if you want to check out my ChatGPT SEO course, link is in the comments as well. Just seen that Doug Cunnington has just popped in and said, hey man, just stop in to say what's up. So shout out to Doug Cunnington. Might be featuring on his channel in the future, actually, in terms of an interview. So, yeah, shout out to Doug. Thanks for being on. And that's pretty much all we have time for. So, thanks so much for being on. And if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments after. And make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Bye-bye.